Sandy.
Chucky,
We are back.
we're back.
And this is our true crime episode this week. A true crime that unfortunately took place on the Venice Canals. April,
Yeah, across the street from us.
literally, or
Across
up,
the canal.
or up the canal from us, or whatever the expression is.
Yeah.
It was April the 6th of last year, and we were at home watching Jaws,
Right.
I remember, with my brother and his daughter, who was here. And whilst we were innocently, whatever the word is, watching this show, there was a couple of gruesome attacks took place on the canal.
Yeah.
Which resulted in the death. It was two women, which resulted in the death of one of the women. So,
Yeah, it's a real stain on the canals.
well, up to this point, I mean, I've been living here for 15, 20 years, and there had never been
Anything.
a murder on the canals.
No.
I recall a few years ago, something happened to a tourist on the beach, but that was all kind of weird. That was sort of...
Well, it wasn't the canals.
No, exactly. I'm just talking about
So-
Venice in general.
Yeah, because this canals are kind of tucked away, I feel like.
Well, maybe that's why the murder happened, because it was too tucked away, but we'll come on to that. So,
It was so brazen. I think that's what makes it so horrific.
let's start at the beginning. So the beginning is, let's start with the two women involved. The first one was Sarah Oldin, who was 53. She had just moved to LA from Massachusetts. And I gather she was in the jewelry business or something. And she, unfortunately, is the one who died. And then the other woman who was also severely assaulted and injured was a woman called Mary Klein, 54, who was an artist and a carer for
A caretaker.
elderly woman.
And now she's a very outspoken activist.
Okay. So the timeline of the events is Sarah Oldin was walking. She'd been on a night out somewhere, and she was walking back to her apartment, which she had just leased.
She had just eaten dinner around the corner at the Japanese restaurant and was walking back home.
Was this on Washington Boulevard?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no big deal. Just walking back home on the canals.
Walking back home through the canals. That was at about 10:30 at night, something like that. Meanwhile,
Mary had already been attacked.
Well, yeah. Okay, so on the other side, on Strong's, Mary was also walking. This was a little bit earlier in the evening. And as she says, I've got it written down somewhere, it felt like I was hit by a truck. Anyway, she was, I really don't want to go into the details here at all, so I won't, but she was basically brutally injured, assaulted, attacked, but lived. And then after that attack, the attacker
went and did it to somebody else.
Yeah, he basically walked across the canals. He would have walked across, two bridges, I think? One bridge. Anyway, it was close, certainly as a bird flies, for example, and did a similar sort of attack.
And she had severe brain damage.
She did.
She was in a coma for months and unfortunately succumbed to injuries.
Well, I gather she was knocked unconscious during the attack and was also kind of sexually assaulted at that point. And I seem to remember nobody was really aware of this. It wasn't like there were suddenly police helicopters around or police cars. They were sort of lying in the bushes, lying on the path, and nobody saw them for a while or immediately,
Yeah, I think Mary was attempted to call 911. I don't know the full details.
Oh, I do. Okay, yeah.
And couldn't get through to 911.
Yeah, wasn't it? Didn't she call somebody, but nobody took her seriously?
Oh,
I seem to remember.
well, this is a whole other.
And they put her through to someone else, or is that just rumor?
I don't know, but 911 is that's a whole other episode because we
Mm.
have a lot of problems with 911 and being put on hold. Um,
Well, also it brings into the question of, you said earlier that the canals are tucked away.
mhm.
I mean, they're pretty dark, the canals at
Yeah.
night. There's no street lights
Mm-mm.
around here. You can, as soon as you'll say away from Washington Boulevard on this side, it does get pretty dark out there. I mean,
They need streetlights. It just dawned on me because at Christmas time it's really beautiful because there's lights everywhere.
mm,
However, one of the changes that was going to be made was they're going to make it more visible at night, and it just dawned on me I don't think they have.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
I don't think they have. I mean, I think people are more aware, but it's not like everybody knows about what happened. Um, I know Mary had her earplugs in,
Okay.
and she was doing her exercises walking, so she couldn't hear, and you would think you could wear your earplugs whenever you want to, but caution, cautionary, you know, to be cautious is when at night, just don't have those on,
Mm.
I guess. And I guess that goes for like not, well, I mean, if you're on the phone, then it would all be
Well,
recorded.
just in general, you can just be walking around. It's good to be able to hear traffic and things
Yeah.
around you as
Yeah.
well. But anyway, we digress. So I remember that night not really knowing anything had happened. It almost like the news took a day or two to sort of
Yeah.
break out.
And I
And
can't believe we didn't hear anything.
yeah, the enormity of what happened though, because the canals is, you know, it's basically a nice area here.
Well, it's very nice. It's very affluent.
Yeah. So obviously every press, news channel, everybody, every paper suddenly descends onto the canals,
Right.
and it's the big story. And it's also a big story because they couldn't find the suspect or the killer. And that's our cat meowing in the background.
Pickles. What are you
Um,
doing? Um, well, I think that there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Why? I think that's the biggest one. This
so,
guy I don't think he was homeless. I don't think he was some.
okay, so we know him as Anthony Francisco Jones,
Mhm.
I think was 32. They actually arrested him 5 days later in San Diego.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a known
No, he has no
figure or
record.
person here in
Yeah.
Venice.
But they got him in jail real fast, and they got him to do some sort of plea deal really fast. And I remember waiting for a call to go down to the courthouse near LAX.
What are we talking about here? Are we talking about his initial arrest in the courthouse, or are we talking his actual trial later in September?
He never had a trial.
Well, he pleaded guilty
Yeah,
to the
that.
charges. But anyway, we're jumping ahead here.
Okay.
So there was a manhunt for him. They caught him on April the 11th. April the 12th, LAPD publicly announced the arrest and then went into the details of what had actually happened. At this point, Mary Klein,
Mhm.
she's still in hospital. And the sad thing with her is I think she just lost her health insurance or something. And she's basically needed multiple
Mhm.
operations. A GoFundMe page was started for her. And
Thank God.
I think at one point $11,000 was raised towards her
Yeah.
medical bills. But unfortunately, Sarah Oldin, she was in a coma for 3 or 4 weeks, about
Mhm.
4 weeks, and on life support. And on May the 24th, the decision was made to turn off the life support. So on June the 13th, I remember this, there was local community members, they all gathered together, and there was a candlelight vigil
Yeah.
for her on one of the bridges
That was
of the
really nice.
canals.
Uh-huh.
I remember you being there. I remember it being quite,
Emotional.
yeah,
It was really
exactly.
beautiful. They had
I think her son or one of her sons
one of her sons was
came
there,
over for
and
that.
they played music on the they had a boat on the canal, and we all gathered on the bridge, and a couple of her really close friends spoke, which was really beautiful, and I believe her son spoke. I don't 100% remember. I know he was there, and they played the violin. I think they played music, and they had some flowers. A lot of people showed up. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful.
And what was also kind of I don't think poignant's the right word, but her last post on social media, I remember you showing it to me, was her on the Venice Beach taking a picture of the sun setting over Venice,
Mhm.
over the Pacific.
Yeah, because she loved the sunset,
Yeah.
and this was done at sunset.
And there was some kind of quote she put under it. And little did we know that sort of a day later or very soon after that,
Yeah.
um, this obviously tragic event happened to her.
Yep.
Mm. So anyway,
But she's still part of even though she had just moved here, she was quickly, taken in and this is her forever home.
mm,
I think we all hold a really special place in our heart for her and for Mary,
mm,
who still lives here.
mm. So Jones, he pleaded no contest to charges, including murder, rape, torture, mayhem, and more. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus an extra 107 years to life, plus 8 years for mayhem.
Well,
Were you there when that
no,
happened? Did you go to that?
and that was what I was going to say earlier is that I was waiting for a phone call to go to the courthouse because I wanted to see him. I wanted to witness what was going to happen.
Mm,
And the press was not told what was going to happen. It was weird. It just happened. It's like I found out through a text, oh, he pled guilty. So
mm,
I that raised a lot of eyebrows because we were wondering like, why is this so secretive?
mm,
And I know that they wouldn't release his name for a while, and then there were people thought maybe he was an immigrant. Um, I mean, at this point, it just doesn't matter. But I think what does matter is that the community really came together, and the reason why he was caught was because of the community.
how so?
Because Daryl next door at Baja Cantina, he's, one of the head people over there, managers, and he looked at the video camera.
Was that the video footage we saw of him
Yes.
drinking liquor on the corner of Sanborn
Yeah,
and
right around the
the
corner.
alleyway?
And he's so smart. Thank you, Daryl, wherever you are. He's so smart because Baja Cantina owns another uh, restaurant down by the beach.
Mm,
And when you go in, you have to show him your license.
yeah.
And they had his license. And they do that because they don't want to get in trouble for serving anyone underage.
Okay.
So they went back in their records and they
Mm,
matched it. I don't know how they did it, but they matched it.
okay.
And because of that, they were able to find him in San Diego. And on top of it, the detectives went all around the neighborhood. They caught it on Ring camera
Mm,
everywhere. And so that's what led to his arrest. Is everyone spoke up, everyone contributed, but I attribute it to Daryl. He really stepped up,
mm.
and thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. One disturbing thing, I remember looking at the picture of him drinking from the liquor bottle outside the Baja Cantina, was when we were watching Jaws that night. My niece actually went to the hotel, the Inn at Venice Beach, where she was staying, to get ready for bed to then just come back and chill out here some more. So she would have actually walked right past him.
Yeah.
And this would have been before the incidents took place. But bearing in mind that he was also talking to a waitress or a cook
Mhm.
or something from the Baja Cantina,
Mhm.
it's almost like he was probably sounding, looking around, seeing what was available
Yeah.
even then.
I mean, I had never ever seen him around here.
Mm.
But then again, it's not like I'm looking, but I just, you know,
Well, that's one thing about the homeless and the transients in Venice is if you live here and you go outside, you do kind of recognize them.
you
They,
do.
you know, they do become familiar.
Oh yeah, definitely. You
And in
see
some
them.
ways it's kind of assuring because, you know, they may have mental issues, they may be homeless, but pretty much they kind of keep themselves to themselves,
Yeah.
you know, or doing they're non-threatening, you know.
And if we ever think that someone is, we take action, and we're heightened, we're aware because this is a urban city, so we're aware.
Mm,
But because this happened in our next door or across the canal, it's just a reminder to be aware.
Okay, so here's the question. How safe do you feel in Venice?
I feel safe
Mm,
because I feel like I am aware, and
mm,
and and I'm always kind of, I mean, I'm not paranoid, but I'm aware.
mm.
I'm aware. And
So I know, for example, I'll have friends or hear of people in England and they just have, I mean, maybe this is, they're thinking of America as well, but they think, oh, we'll come over here, you're going to get shot or something's going to happen, you're going to be mugged, it's America and
well,
blah,
are
blah,
they saying
blah.
it's America or it's
Well,
Venice?
I'm asking you if, why? Well, they're obviously saying, well, that's obviously a thing about America, isn't it? That's a general
Right.
perception people have of America. Um, but you do, you know, even, I mean, we're getting into politics now, but you even get into these things of, you know, Midwest people or people on the East Coast, you know, they look at Venice, they think of homeless people and, you know, it's just, at this point, it's just a load of bad thoughts. It's not going to end up in a good place, you know, of people
Yeah.
feeling safe or not. But saying that though, I do actually feel safe here. Um,
Yeah. I
touch
mean,
wood.
I'm not going to walk down the boardwalk at night,
No, and nor do I. I mean, that's another thing.
period. But
Yeah.
canals are not the boardwalk.
Yeah.
But I'm
Well,
not going to go walking at night by myself anyway.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
should be able to, but
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I will say go down to Washington Boulevard at night if I'm going out to Hinano or one of those places. That's no problem.
mhm,
It's lit up. There's loads of people. But if I was by myself and you suddenly had to walk, say, down the boardwalk at night,
yeah, no,
from there to, say, Venice Circle, I'm probably not going to do that. But saying that, that's probably me being overcautious as well, because I'm sure plenty of people do.
yeah.
And most people are probably okay. So my sense is that Venice isn't particularly worse or better than any other city, you know?
Yeah, I just think that Venice is also a tourist destination, and not just meaning people coming from other countries, but people come on the weekends from
Mm,
different places in the LA area, and that's where they hang out.
mm.
Also, Venice has a gang community, you know.
And what's that mean?
Well, that they hang out at the boardwalk. So, you know,
So is that some kind of protection or is it the complete opposite? It's kind of beware because that's a
I don't
gang.
think you have to beware. I mean, but I think you just need to know that you don't want to be, you know, in the middle of two gangs fighting. Not like that's going to happen,
No, but
but
at least they're kind of fighting each other at that point
yeah.
and not you. Well, I was going to say get caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
So here's another thing. What do you think of all these firecrackers that go off
I
continuously?
hate firecrackers, and I think they should be outlawed, and fireworks.
See, I always thought they were firecrackers, and they probably are firecrackers, but then in recent years, I'm thinking,
Oh, there were
is
gunshots.
that gunshots I'm hearing in the distance?
Oh my God.
You
Remember,
know?
you weren't here, and Alexander and I were here, and we kept hearing these firecrackers.
Mm,
And I remember going out and looking around, and I didn't see any, but I looked down at Citizen app that tells you everything
mm,
that's going on. And then I looked at next door, and that this guy was on top of the roof across the way in Marina Del Rey, because Marina Del Rey is right across the street.
oh, yeah, I remember this.
And he was shooting off. I mean, that wasn't too much longer after, what happened on the canals.
Yeah.
That was like a
Just
month.
remind us of that incident again. That was almost
There was a resident living in a really big apartment complex who had kind of gone off the deep end. He had revealed to people that he had weapons. One of his friends reached out to the police, police in Marina Del Rey, and was begging them, please come and check him out. He's threatening suicide. He's acting strange. He's on drugs. He has weapons. And they pretty much laughed at her and was like,
mm,
yeah, whatever. Well, the next day, sure enough, he got upset about something and just, he, got his gun and shot through the ground. He did not kill anyone, which is
mm,
a miracle.
mm.
However, he's now in jail because he pointed a gun at an officer. And
Wasn't there, and not to trivialize it, but wasn't there didn't he say something to his lawyer about he was worried about paying his car
oh, he was
payment or something?
completely just delusional. Like, when they arrested him, he said to his lawyer, who I spoke with, who's gonna take care of my car payments? Just, who's gonna watch my cat and dog while I'm gone? Not
Yeah.
even really, like, completely out of touch. And it's a really sad story because none of this had to happen had he just been taken seriously. Like, all of these tragedies, I mean, not all of them, not talking about the one on the canal, but when someone says, you know, I'm being threatened, please come and look at this, and then you're told, well, we can't do anything unless someone's injured. I mean, that is so dumb.
Mm,
We can't arrest this person or, get a trespassing notice, whatever, until something's actually done. I don't
mm,
know who wrote that rule,
mm,
but that does not work.
mm,
So, but I remember it was just
mm.
in 2024, it was that, and then I think something else happened.
Yeah, and I think round about this. So this brings me on. So returning to the case of the woman who was murdered and the other woman who was assaulted here on the canals.
Hmm.
So Mary Klein, at the end of last year, she filed a legal claim against the city of Los Angeles seeking $5 million in damages. The claim alleges that the city failed to provide adequate safety and security
Hmm.
in this neighborhood, contributing to the circumstances that allowed the attack to
Yeah,
occur.
I agree. She should sue them and she should get
Yeah.
paid. And I think, if anything, maybe it's because of that calling 911 and not getting any help.
Mm,
Because had that, I hear I'm playing God, but had 911 picked up, you know, at
mm.
that time, that's when this was happening to
Well,
the other
exactly.
woman.
Exactly.
So the whole system is
Mm,
just
yeah.
needs
So,
cleaning up.
well, just to finish up from that. So as of now, so we're almost a year later since the filing of the claim, there have been no formal response. The claim remains pending with no official acknowledgement or resolution published in the news since then, basically. So,
Maybe Mary has something to say about that. But the thing that I love about Mary is that she's very outspoken.
mm,
She did not shrivel up. She got bigger.
Mm,
You know, she got bigger and she speaks about it now. And good for her for
mm,
reclaiming her life and moving forward and onwards.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, so there we go. That's our Venice true crime story
Yeah.
from this week. And hopefully,
Hopefully that will be the last one.
absolutely. And hope, yes, yes. Okay. Well, listen, let's wrap it up on that note.
Goodbye.
Next week, we will be back. We're going to have a guest at some point, so that's going to be exciting. And we're to talk about something that's going to be a lot happier. Until then, our cat is meowing in the background. So, need to go and
Pickles.
sort it out.
She's
Okay.
hungry.
Subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.